Hello there. It seems that the Green Party has put net zero on the back burner in favour of Zero Zion. Did their activists really sign up for this? And if they did, then all the more reason to dump them. When a Green Party candidate gets elected, the first thing you expect to hear them to say is that they will force net zero by instantly stopping all carbon dioxide emissions, forcing us all to walk and cycle everywhere, and make everyone eat bugs for breakfast, before climbing into their diesel car and driving off to the burger outlet for a soy latte. But the newly elected Green Party councillor for Gipton and Hare Hills had different ideas. As a member of a certain demographic, he has a different single issue that he's going to be chasing. Yes, Mothin Ali stated that his victory in the race for a place in a council chamber in Leeds was a victory for the people of Gaza, while he and his supporters flew the Palestinian flag.
Raise the voice of Palestine! Allahu Akbar!
I wonder what the rest of the Green Party activists in places like the home counties feel about this lurch to the Zero Zion cause. Well, for the answer to that, watch the female Green supporter in the background at his victory speech, grinning and clapping like the proverbial seal while trying to get into the limelight.
Palestine will be free! 3 years ago we started this campaign. I started alone. And Allah sent His angels to come and assist me. So, for the community of Hare Hills and Gipton, who are fed up of being let down by the Labour Council, who have been fed up of being taken for granted, who have been fed up of being taken for granted, who have been fed up of being neglected by this rotten council, who are fed up.
So I imagine all the other Green activists and supporters across the country also feel that they should be putting Zero Zion at the forefront of their campaigns above net zero. Unless this is the first they've heard about it. Maybe the Green Party bosses made sure that in some areas, like the leafy suburbs, campaigning was all about walking, cycling and recycling. But in other areas, it was all about hard Zero Zion. Well, imagine what would happen if a Tory or Labour councillor came out with this sort of stuff and ditched their party's flagship policies in favour of their own in this rather fervent manner. Or is Zero Zion now a Green Party policy? And from what I can see on Twitter, it appears that Mothin Ali targeted a rabbi in this country, a rabbi who was eventually forced into hiding. And all we hear from the Green Party hierarchy is a deafening silence. Well, they've got another council seat, so they don't seem to be bothered about what this guy's possibly been up to, or what he's going to get up to. Either that or they fully support him. And this will have come to the notice of Keir Starmer, whose Labour Party candidate there was beaten into second place. One assumes that either that constituency has suddenly found the drive for net zero, or maybe they are more interested in the new Green Party Zero Zion policy. Maybe the Labour leadership is now looking at how they can be more Zero Zion than the Greens, so as to prevent this large loss of votes from a certain demographic they've been experiencing. I mean, the Greens could take London next time if they field a harder Zero Zion candidate than Labour does. But of course in London, Sadiq Khan won for the third term. And we all know his net zero credentials are right up there with even the most zealous. And with a nice win under his belt, he has the mandate to totally shut London down to all traffic. Or more probably, just fleece anyone who drives too near to the M25. He also now has the mandate to continue the Met two-tier policing rules that favour the pro-Palestine marches. Because that's obviously what the people of London want, because they voted for it. Now, I do find it strange that with all this growing power, this certain demographic and their useful Zero Zion idiot supporters are always claiming that Zion is the one that runs the UK, when there's very few of them, and it is a group that is getting more and more fearful as every day passes, especially in London, and they are thinking of moving elsewhere. Those are not the actions of the powerful. They are the actions of the victims. Now, these Zero Zion supporters are very divisive people. They target those that disagree with their beliefs and try to cancel them at the very least, or force them into hiding by terrorising them. Therefore, I can only surmise that the Green Party is not the fluffy, inclusive party it purports to be. I wonder who they bank with. Anyway, I also have to wonder how far towards Zero Zion the main parties will now have to lurch in order to get a majority government in years to come. Remember that the Zero Zion people turned away from Labour and went elsewhere, like the Green Party, because Keir Starmer's Labour Party was not Zero Zion enough. You can imagine party leaders turning manifesto drafts down in future because there are only 50 references to the words ceasefire, river, sea and caliphate in them. There will have to be at least 100 in any future manifesto to cut the mustard and get the votes. But we all know that the talk about Zero Zion and anti-Zionism or anti-Israel is really all just shorthand for the old hatred that some people have, and we all know exactly what that hatred is, don't we? Further, anyone saying that they just want a ceasefire in Gaza in order to save lives, I just don't believe them. They want to give the losing side, Hamas, time to regroup and rearm and go after Israel and Israelis again and again and again. After all, those intelligent people must be aware that Hamas has promised that while it exists, it will use violence to destroy Israel. Hence all that river to the sea jargon they and their idiot supporters trot out. They've made that so abundantly clear that the ceasefire supporters must be aware of it. And all the while our politicians of whatever stripe just crowbar the borders ever wider open, and in the process welcoming in more and more foreign conflict, a conflict that may well one day be played out on the streets of Britain. And our political system has no answers, because our democracy was not designed to cope with this. It was designed to run smoothly when we had like-minded people with a love of their country at the core. That has now gone. Our country is far from cohesive and like-minded. But the people have continually voted for this, so they must want it. From the EU to the ECHR, to mass immigration, to woke, to religious fundamentalism, to the Marxist march through the institutions and a rising anti-white racism, we have been divided. There are no shared values. Further, our system is run not by those we elect, but by those who our elected kowtow to. Those in the ivory towers of the WEF and the UN, and a few multi-billionaires like Bill Gates. Our police and judicial systems are now skewed in favour of anyone with an anti-UK sentiment. Patriots can expect to be royally screwed, while newcomers can now just claim ignorance of the law. Once the Labour leader is ensconced in number 10, we may well be watching European states with envy as they begin their journey from the EU-dominated left onto the centre-right ground of sanity. Their MEP elections are just a month away now, and I think those results will be very, very interesting indeed.